WSMN, its owners and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live as well as YouTube, Facebook. We are up on Spotify, so you can catch us everywhere. We're live every Thursday from 10 to noon, and we are happy to be with you today. Today is Bike Week in Laconia, and we had a really good Saturday night. We went to the first day. We got to go to Loudon and see some vendors, and we also were able to watch that super bike race that ends up going through. And that was the first time I had ever seen that. And I am happy to report that I didn't see any bands doing AC/DC live on Saturday, which I always joke that there is, just because we ride a motorcycle doesn't mean we only want to listen to AC/DC every day and night.
That is true. Good morning.
Good morning, Robyn. How are you?
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot. And you got your hot coffee?
Yes. And look, I got goosebumps.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. I need to settle.
You need to settle. Take some deep breath. Everyone together, take a deep breath in. We can do like a mini morning meditation. I've been listening to this awesome...
I didn't do my meditation this morning, and I think that's part of it.
That's part of it. I've been telling you guys about Active, which is this awesome free meditation if you have Audible. It's included in the package, and there's a 21-day meditation, and every day she talks about a different thing. And today, she talked about the fact that, you know, we're always striving, and as human beings, we want to make progress, but that we are doing the best we can in the moment that we have with what we have at this time. And one of the things that I love about that meditation is that she always says, feel what it's like. So not only do you close your eyes and you take a deep breath in, you say the words, "I'm doing the best that I can," with your deep breath in, and then you release by letting the breath out. But she also says, what does it feel like to know that you're doing the best that you can with what you have? You know, how does it feel in your body? What does a person look like during the day when they know they're doing the best that they can? So I really like that meditation because I like that feel, like you feel it as well. Like when you go about your day, embody that you are always doing your best. And Robyn, you are always doing your best. You're a fantastic.
I don't think so. Look, that clock says 10:10. That's I was going to say, like, boy, that just kind of ties in. I feel like I have all of these. Well, I have all my browsers open this morning.
All my tabs.
Yes. And how it just relates to what Deborah had said to us about grounding, about drawing in, about having presence, in being present, and how giving you tools to help you be present, about sitting down and just closing your eyes and listening to what sounds do you hear. You know, at first you close your eyes and you're like, why am I doing this? And then you start to take in your space. Then what do you smell? And then you go out from there. I love that. And it's that same yoga practice. Like, what does joy feel like? Like, I want peace. You know, you're chasing peace, or you're chasing harmony, or you're chasing joy, or...
And the chasing is the issue. It's that we need to be it. We don't need to chase it. It doesn't, because chasing involves it being outside of us and that we're trying to run it down, where it resides in us.
Well, and it's like you're so stressed, you know, like even if you're so stressed at work and you're like, I just want to be happy. Well, then, like, I love taking that principle and like, well, what does happy look like? What does happy look like? I'm going to try it on. well, that would be, a smile on my face. That would be good energy. That would be
My shoulders down.
yes.
My jaw relaxed.
My jaw not clenched.
My forehead and eyebrows.
Yes.
My eyebrows point
Yes.
up when I'm happy. That's how you know. Or if I'm really interested or inquisitive, they go up. So you can tell I don't do Botox.
I know.
My eyebrows
I actually
move up
looked
and
in my
down in my
rearview
face.
mirror this morning, and I was like, "Wait, I think I have another WTF mark on my forehead."
That's temporary. That's just temporary in the
gonna-
moment.
That looks like. Well, it's almost hard. Like I was like, "Wait, I wasn't wearing my glasses this morning. What's that indentation?" I'm like, "Oh,
That's my mood.
that's scowling."
We are watching on the
Oh.
National Public Television channel. They have the entrance to Wares Beach and Laconia Lake and Bike Weekend. I'll have to peek and see if John went up real quick.
How awesome is that?
He's working today,
Hey, I
but-
see you. You're not supposed. Are you supposed
Are
to
you
be at
supposed to be at work?
work? Yeah. So this morning.
He is at work today.
This morning, my day just started out bad.
Did the cats get
like
out
a
and not come
tractor
home?
trailer, like a tractor trailer going backwards downhill with no
Oh,
brakes, and
no.
it is how it felt. And I just was like, I can't change my energy. I am having such a struggle, and coming up, I get off. I come straight through. I don't know what that road is. 101.
Yes.
I come all the way 101, and so that I'm at the top of Main Street, and it's just once you get past the Chinese place, or the cemetery, there's all this traffic, and you're just sitting in traffic, and usually, like today, it just seemed like, wow, I'm really sitting here for a long time, and I'm getting angry, like I'm just move, and I'm like, I just want to be I just want to be that person that just lays it on the horn. I'm like, but what good is that going to do? It's a red light. We're not going anywhere. But it was just that energy, and I'm like, man. So we got all the way, I finally get here, and we sit here, and I'm like kind of sitting on the train tracks a little bit, and I was like, where am I going with this? Like, again, I'm still fighting that angry, mad energy. Like, I hate the world. I want to take it out on. And literally, by the time I get into this lane,
Take it out on me. Tell me my mama's so fat.
Well, listen, I'm coming to this light. I'm coming up to the light, and I get a green light to turn left, and it's the arrow. So I'm the only one in that lane. It was enough to like hit me and almost bring me to a puddle of tears. Like, and I just said, "Thank you, God." Because that was just like, it's never, I rarely ever see that light turn left on a green arrow that you don't have to wait. I'm the first in line, and it literally just changed. And I'm like, thank you, God. And I was like, I did. I felt like I could be a puddle of tears, just overwhelmed with just gratitude and grace, trying not to make my voice crack now. But like, man, it's so easy to lose sight of beauty and joy. And it's, being vulnerable and being open and, seeking joy and trying to raise your vibration and be in a higher space. Sometimes there's a lot of things that like want to pull you down. And that was just an overwhelming thing. And I just want to let that, like, there I am.
Yeah, there you are.
There I am. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. And I'm like, I'm choosing to believe that it was, it was God, and
Divine
choosing to
intervention.
see. It was, yes, it was something to say, wait.
I do think that life is a struggle, and there's so many obstacles and challenges that, you do have to, you do have to ride those emotions when you have them. When you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. And I bought this is going to seem unrelated, but it is related, I promise. It will be girl logic that I come back here.
Girl math.
But there was a 50% off rack at my yoga studio, and there's an outfit that I've been eyeing, but I've been trying not to spend money. But it was 50% off, and I tried it on, and it fit. And it's red
Right.
pants and a red and pink top.
Oh, cute.
But it could not be any more bright. And when I wore it to the studio the next day, one of the women said to me, "That's really pretty, but that's not a color in which you don't get noticed." And I said, "Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done wearing black in my life." I said I wore black a whole lot in the first half of my life, because anytime I bought a nice dress, it would always be the black dress, and it was always the Audrey Hepburn, trying to get that vibe. And for a long time, I've been trying to wear more color. And this is off topic, but on topic. But I lived in Somerville across the street from a family, and they were so excited. Their daughter and her new husband were giving birth. They gave birth to a baby girl. And 3 days later, the mother died on the couch of a blood clot.
Oh, my gosh.
So the grandparents raised the little girl as their daughter, and the dad would come over every week, but he had to go to work, and he didn't remarry. You know, like, what is he going to do with this brand new baby? And that mother wore black for the rest of her life. And I remember, because that's an old school thing. You know, you wear the black bands on your clothing. You wear all black. And I know a lot of older people who, you know, someone passes, they wear black because they're letting you know that they're in mourning. And it's almost a way to let the world know that you're fragile. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
That, you know, hey, give that person a break. But we wear black all the time, so it kind of lost its meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, in that way. But we wear black to funerals. But I did not wear black to John's grandmother's funeral. I wore a deep, deep, deep navy blue that almost looked black. But I was like, Bupcha didn't like black. I remember when one of the decorations I did black, silver, white, you know, and I remember everyone saying like, well, she doesn't like black. And I'm like, well, it's going to look like New Year's Eve black tie. You know, it was a gray tablecloth and various things like that. But I was like, it's going to look elegant, not like a funeral. And I remember even when I wore that, they were like, I remember a couple of people saying, that's blue, not black. And I was like, I know, I don't think Bupcha wants me to wear black. Because,
I like
you know,
that.
You know, but there was that time period where, you know, someone would lose someone and they would need a mourning period and they would need time to process their grief. And for everyone, when we used to have a community that really knew what was going on, almost gossip-wise in our town, you know, so-and-so lost someone, there would be, the purpose of that gossip would be to let you know, like, hey, that person just lost someone. They're probably, you know, give them a break.
Yes.
Just give them a break. So this is our way of saying, if you see Robyn today, give her a break. Okay, because Robyn's having a hell of a day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, she's crying at the light on at 9:57.
I know.
So what this means is Robyn is fragile today. And
yes.
I almost called her Roger.
Roger that.
Yeah, but
I can do
Roger. So if you see her today, she's fragile. Give a wide berth. Be nice.
Yes.
Be nice to everyone you see today.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. I think we should be nice to people. I think we should, even though sometimes I don't want to be. But because truly, like every day that passes, the more I'm aware of.
But it's good that
we
you know
see
you're in
the
that
world
space.
for whatever comes. You know, we see the world through our own lens. We don't really have another lens to see it through from our experiences, and so we are in control. You know, we set the temperature. We set the temperature in our home. We set the temperature of how people talk to us. You know, how we show up, because I think everything comes from inside out. And so I'm like, okay, I do need to give myself space.
And we talked about that a little bit last week. We tried to talk a little bit about it last week. But giving patience and all of that requires room.
Yes.
And it requires space.
Yes.
Because sometimes when I know when I'm having a bad day, it's like I pile on really quickly.
Yes.
And then I've added stuff from last week or next week or, you know, you just pile it on. And then it makes it even more overwhelming, but it adds almost a justification for the current instead of what the awareness is bringing in, okay, let me peel back layers. Let me unpack what's really happening. Let me not throw the kitchen sink and everything on top of it, but let me peel back the layers and see what is really happening. What is really fundamentally what's going on? Am I feeling scared? Am I feeling afraid? Am I feeling resentful? Because resentful is really easy. If you're feeling resentful, you were taking on way too much.
Yes.
And I'm a person who complains that I take on too much and then I take on more.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's my thing. I don't know if that's your thing, but that's totally my thing. My other thing is that I can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run late for 10 o'clock.
Yes.
That's my thing. That's what I do. I don't know what you're doing, being on time. Like, I wasn't late today, but I wanted to be out of the house at 9, and I didn't get out till 9:10. And that depends on the traffic, because there's construction on the road. So depending on the traffic, I can get here just at the moment. And I'm a person who needs transitions. So I can't just walk in with my traffic energy
Right.
to the radio show. No one wants that. So what I do is I can sit down for a second. Let me get myself organized. Let me go pee. Let me get like something to drink. Let me blow my nose. Let me get myself all ready.
You're settling.
Yeah,
You're
I'm settling.
preparing. But
the
how many times
transitions.
do we? But how many times do we go into our workplace that way? A lot of times it's either getting kids off to school or, getting people together, organized, and you're sending the troops out and you're getting yourself ready. And sometimes, you're rushing. Do we take time to even ground when we get to work? We get to that space and being like, okay, here's my calm, here's my process for the day, instead of, I know me. I walk in and, blow the doors off and it's a whirlwind. And, I used to work in the lab, and my sister and I had this Fitbit challenge a while back. And literally, it's 3 operatories. It's 3 little lab rooms. So it's probably, within 800 square feet. I would have 12,000 steps by lunchtime.
Oh my goodness.
Like, that's hustling. Like, just,
yes.
But it's taken me a long time to not be that way all the time.
Right.
I mean, even when I'm gardening, I was just, I decided I was going to rearrange my flower bed, and literally the sedums that I have are like bigger than my arms. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to move all 3 of those, and I'd like to get it in one shot. So I'm underneath these big rhododendrons, and I'm at the rake pushing back the Stelladora daylilies. It's all that grassy stuff. Like, I'm in the jungle digging the stuff out.
Bees are zzz by you.
But then I leave that half done, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to go get that hosta out front. And then it's chaos, but it's also like,
It's controlled chaos.
yes, and I got a lot done, and I'm like, oh, I want to get the clippers. So I go do that. So it's my ADD, and I'm like, I got stuff all over the yard, but full bore, 100%. And I have been better about wearing gardening gloves now that I've gotten my nails done. But I'm like, I think I still see some dirt under my cuticles.
A little bit. Do you have a brush?
I do. I do have a nail brush. And I also have like an old, like a toothbrush that I do like along my cuticles and things like that. I'm a dirt digger.
Yeah, because I wear gloves too, and I still have it. Like, it seeps through the gloves when the gloves get wet. So I do have that piece of it as well, but I try to keep them.
There's something satisfying about pulling up, like when I was transplanting a hosta, just digging through the earth and like finding the root. I mean, you really can't kill a hosta.
Right. They're pretty sturdy.
You literally can, most of the time, if I can get out the whole plant, I can take the shovel and just go right down the middle of it and quarter it. But I couldn't. It was underneath this big bush, and I couldn't get the rhododendrons. They're, the branches are like 2 fingers thick, so they're not moving as much. They're not as pliable as I want them to be. But I'm like, I'm gonna use that and spread it out and fill in some different spots with it. And so I couldn't get the shovel under there to get the whole thing. So the soil is really pretty loose, and it's really rich soil. So I'm like digging under there, and I was like, man, I think I do this. And so this week has been a stressful week. And part of my mad mayhem gardening was my way of grounding. Because being outside, being in the dirt, like some people will say, go barefoot, stand outside to ground and calm. I don't think that works for me. I think it just actually action. I think when I feel chaos inside, I have to move.
Do you know how many closets and pantries and drawers and closets I have, in a fit of overwhelm and chaos, start rearranging because I need to do something and I need to get control of my life somewhere, and it starts in a closet. And then I have half of it done, and I've spent all the energy. And now I'm looking at this rest of this closet like,
I know, like,
oh,
man.
I don't have enough of that. What started out as really a procrastination to do something else, but needing to get the energy out, now turns into 2 projects.
Well, so back self-reflection, TMI, here we go. You walk in do you ever just sit there and think like, oh my gosh, I have so many cute clothes, or like, I can't wait to wear this, or I can't wait to wear that, or, oh, that'll look good together. Yesterday was one of those days, and that should have been a warning for me.
Okay, that's a precursor to.
That was being able to look back and self-reflect. So I got fixated. Like, I couldn't find nothing. I didn't like anything. I tried on a couple of things, which I think on an ordinary day would have been really cute. I'm like, nope, that doesn't work right. I don't like that. That's too long. I was just nitpicking at everything. Like, no, this doesn't fit. And I was throwing this off. And I'm like, no, I really want to wear something cute. I want to wear something colorful. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't scratch that itch. Then I got fixated on this jean skirt, the white jean skirt that I wore in Florida. And I was like, I don't think I've worn it since we've been back from Florida. So where is it? And I'm literally like tearing. And I knew I wasn't going to wear it. I knew I wasn't going to wear it yesterday, but I'm like, now I need to know where it is. And so I'm digging through everything, and I'm wasting time. I'm just killing time, but I'm in this frenzy, and I can feel that stress. Like, it's not a big deal. Let it go. I have another jean skirt, same jean skirt in a different size, and that was not going to satisfy that. I'm like,
it's almost like an OCD moment where once your mind has grabbed onto this one thing, there was no substituting it.
Well, it's really, I think, where I was putting my energy. Like, I couldn't find it, and I'm like, well, if I just find this, then I'll have peace.
Yes.
I think that's, I think looking back, I think that's what I was going. That's the direction I was moving in.
So that's really interesting, because I think sometimes a lot of people are mad at someone that they're not mad at. They're just mad at another thing, but they think they can't be mad, so they take it out. It's almost like, not displacement, that's what boats do. I am watching the lake on the TV in our studio, so I apologize. Displacement is not the right word. Projection.
Yes.
Projection. You're projecting something that's not on something. Like, you were projecting something onto the skirt.
Yes.
Some part of you that felt out of sorts or out of control or uncertain or something then went, oh, and I don't know where my white skirt is.
Yeah, so I think I was searching for order. And so that was just me really, like, actually right now, just figuring out, like, that was chaos. And so I needed that energy to be I needed it to be directed at something, because I really didn't know.
Well, it was better at the jean skirt and then instead of your family.
Yes.
And then you'd be looking at them like,
Literally, I'm gardening like a crack addict, and I'm like, that should have been a warning too. And I'm like,
digging in the dirt like there's crack in there.
Yes, I'm like, oh, just frenzy. Like, I got to get it all perfect and get this right, and and then I'm waiting. I'm on my hands and knees, and it's dirt. Like, I'm literally in the dirt. And another thing is, I don't wear shorts out in public. I mean, I would prefer a skirt or a dress.
I would too.
I feel like, usually shorts are for the golf course. For doing some kind of a physical activity. And so yesterday I was like, I was wearing shorts.
But you looked so cute yesterday. But you look nice. They weren't like. So one of the things I feel about shorts is we either have hang out your butt, distressed threads at the end of jeans, which is for a younger generation, or we have down to your knees, I might as well wear pants or a skirt. Mature woman shorts.
Yes.
And there's no in between that. And I thought, this is why my mother started raiding my closet in her 40s and into her early 50s. And I would be so mad, because I'm like, I'm wearing it and I'm 16. You don't get to wear it too. But now I should apologize. She's passed away. I can't apologize to her. Maybe she can hear me. But I'm sorry. I didn't realize your clothing choices were so minimal.
Yes.
I didn't realize you thought, because my mother was petite. My mother was small, like you. I think after she had me, she weighed like 93 pounds.
Wow.
And she gained like almost 70 pounds almost 70 pounds pregnant with me. And then immediately was a size 0 or a size 3 or something. It's a very, very tiny person. And so a lot of mature clothing expects you to have, a big chest and big hips and space,
Yes.
And so clothing allows for all of that space and doesn't. But if you have a nice body, you want to show off your nice body. And sometimes I think even the not nice body, don't put me in a suit. Don't put me in a garbage bag.
Right. A muumuu dress.
Don't put me in a muumuu dress to hide everything. We still need shapes. We still need human shape in there somewhere. Accentuate what is working.
Well, it literally was like walking through Macy's yesterday. We'd gone into a couple of cute shops. And then I'm walking through Macy's and I'm like, well, the only thing I could think of is, I don't even know. Growing up, there was a Woolworths.
Yes. Zehrs.
And I don't even remember. I don't actually remember the clothing, but I just remember my grandmother shopping there and her dragging us along. And, we're kids and, like, it's torture. It's like, like the 7th layer of purgatory walking through the store, walking through a retail store. Now, boy, did I grow up. But walking through Macy's yesterday, I was like, who wears this stuff? It looks like old polyester, like even the styles, the patterns. I was like, wow.
So sometimes I joke that there's time periods in fashion where they're angry at women. And they're like, I don't want them to look nice. I don't want them cute walking around. No.
No, put that back.
No.
Put it back.
Put this color on there. Put this pattern on there.
So it does go back. So the red yoga outfit, red and pink, I love it. That's one of the things I love about you is, I'm going to do me. I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Well, at the end of the day, whatever anyone else thinks of me actually doesn't matter. They're not making any decisions in my life.
Right.
Really, at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, they may not like me. They may not decide to give, work with me in a business sense, where I could make money or something or anything. Just any capacity really does not matter.
It's true. It's said all the time, people's, words don't, it's their opinion, their opinion. I hear it all the time. You can't even scroll through Facebook and not see somebody saying that, other people's opinion of you is not your problem. But if we actually sit and process that, like, in some ways, we allow ourselves to be prisoners to other people's words and opinions.
There, some arbitrary they. Be careful about letting the theys make you change decisions that you may regret. You have one life. If you are only living it to the tune of what, of course we live in society and, you can't run down the street naked. You just can't. I know you may want to run down the street naked. I get it. Do that in your home. Go to a nudist colony or something like that. However, within the confines of society and a culture, can certain things be done?
Right. You're not talking about radical. You're talking
I'm not talking about radical. I'm talking about just wearing something that I want to wear. I know sometimes, and I've used clothing in all different ways in my life, but I've always used it as an expression. And it was growing up in a Catholic uniform where you just, your button was one button too low. Your sleeves weren't supposed to be rolled up. Your vest had to be on top of it.
And you had to check your fingertips, the length of your skirt. And
there was so much control over that all I did was sit and say, when I don't have to wear this uniform. I went to college. I never wore sweatpants in college. Every girl was wearing sweatpants. I was not wearing sweatpants. I was wearing leather skirts. Yeah. I was wearing cute jeans with holes up the side. Yes. I was wearing all kinds of, I look at those jeans now and I laugh. But I was not falling into looking comfortable. I always wanted to look cute.
Yes.
Whatever that meant and whatever time. And I'm going into
because I think it makes
maternal
you feel
age,
good.
Advanced maternal age. I still want to look cute.
Yes. At one of the
so when you see me, tell me I look cute.
You look gorgeous, girl. You always
look beautiful.
Look
I love that dress.
You always look gorgeous.
I love this neckline of yours.
Thank you. I think I needed something. I think I needed something fun and flirty. Like, so the ruffle.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ruffle was cute. And, I wanted something colorful, but, black. And it's
But
very...
it has the white polka dots. If you can see Robyn on Facebook, she looks beautiful.
Well, but, I do. So I resonate with that, what you're saying about black. For a period last year, I was wearing I had a lot of black and white outfits, my pants and my white. So I was into the black and white, but it's also, it's solid, and they're so, like, it's
in a way, it's grounding.
yes, but it's such, it's black and white. I'm scrambling for the word in my brain. It's not polarizing, but it's
Opposites?
Yes. I'm trying to say it how I feel it, and I'm like, it's not,
I will give you the space to do that.
so I'm not really sure. It's the contradiction, I think. The black and white. It's to me, it's...
The duality, the light and the dark.
Yes. Yes.
I said I was
That's
gonna
probably
let
the
you
best
do it
way.
on your own.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
it.
I
You
did
got it.
interrupt.
I love that. Like, just
I did say I was going to give you room, and then I jumped right
fumbling
in
on
there.
air. But if you know it, you know it. Like, done. Now we can move on.
But I love that about your dress. I love the black and white.
Oh, thank you. It seemed appropriate this morning. And I just realized, I think we all do that. I think we all, clothing is a great expression. And I like being able to, it raises your vibration.
What do you think about uniforms? I think uniforms, so as much as I hated uniforms in school, I do think it's useful. I think when you have kids coming together from different economic backgrounds, I think you have the haves and the have-nots. I think that one layer of making sure that they have some kind of uniformity is a uniform. Even if it's just a polo and khakis or, something equivalent to that, because I think you don't have the right sneakers. You don't have the right sneakers this week. You're shopping at Abercrombie. We no longer shop at Abercrombie now, or Abercrombie, whatever the name is.
I think it takes a lot of things off of the table.
Yeah.
Competition, it takes a lot of things. It can be a distraction because women look at other women. Women, I think, are the most harsh as far as being critical.
We have a gene almost.
Well, I mean, you immediately size somebody up, and I don't know that guys do that.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Absolutely. They just don't do it in a catty way. But there are, I think, I'm trying to think of who the guy was, and he recently said, when I saw that he was fat and he wore the face that he deserved, meaning he lived a life of X, and now he looks like X.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's almost catty.
Yeah.
They do have it too. They just hide it a little bit better, I think.
But
they don't verbalize it as well, maybe.
But I think what we do as people, we stack our insecurities against what we see as attributes. And I'm like, that just keeps coming back to me over and over again. And a lot of times that's where our, insecurities and our fears come from, I think. Because we're always looking, we're judging that person. Is she better than me? She's prettier than me. She has less wrinkles. And I feel like we subconsciously go down our Rolodex when we, somebody new walks in the door and it's like, oh, fresh meat. We're going to size that person up.
It's really funny. I think about the workplace and how everybody would be on top of the new person. Where it's, like you said, fresh meat. That's what I specifically thought of the FAA. When someone new came in, it was, and I think that was part of the spotlight on me of fresh meat, and I came to the table not superficially. So while maybe I looked a certain way, I did come to the table with, a pilot's license and an interest in aviation, and wanting to make a career. And I did have intelligence, and I had a college degree, and so I did have something backing up the superficial piece, but I never got. For a certain group of people, I never got past that superficial piece. They just saw that and were like, we don't like her. How did she
Yeah.
get that position? What do you mean? I'm qualified.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of times, the way we show up is a trigger for somebody else's wounded ego.
Yeah.
Is how I feel. And some people can never move past that.
Well, when you said, we compare ourselves against something else, one thing that's hard as women get older is, what are you comparing me to a 20-year-old? Don't even compare me to the 20-year-old today. Don't even compare me to the 20-year-old I was.
Right. Right.
I don't want to be
Right.
held up to a time period that no longer exists. That's like saying, why don't we do things like we did in 1920? Because we're not in 1920.
Yes.
Why don't I look like I did when I was 22? Because I'm not 22.
Yes.
So I feel that there is all of this expectation.
Yes.
And that's the part of I don't care what other people thinks, because I don't care what they think, because that is their expectation of me, not my expectation of me.
Well said. Well said.
And that's where sometimes even my spouse will say, you can't whatever. And I says who? I don't care what other people think. Really, what is that fundamentally saying?
I know Chris challenges me when I say that sometimes. Like, I don't really care what other people think. And it crosses my radar.
I don't want to be inappropriate.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. I want to, I think this is okay. And sometimes if I ask and, he's like, well, why does it bother you? And I'm like, I guess I'm just doing a temperature check to see, is this inappropriate? Given my age, or given my body, or
Our location of where we're going.
yes, just, I want to be appropriate. I don't want to be, I'm not trying to stand out, but at the same time, I want to be me, and I want to be good, and I don't want to be inappropriate.
Like my father wearing a button-down shirt, slacks, a belt, and
Yes.
dress shoes at the
Yes.
pool.
Yes.
I didn't want to be that, where
Yes,
everyone's
yes.
now looking at the guy that's dressed.
Like, what the, what?
But sometimes you're somewhere and you are overdressed. And sometimes I'm in a bathing suit and a cover-up at the supermarket because I have to run in and grab
Yes.
the ice and the something for the boat for the day, or for the
Yes.
pool for the day. So, and maybe half of it comes down to I have been trying so hard to give people the benefit of the doubt, because I would want to be given the benefit of the doubt. So in the treat people how you want to be treated mantra, if someone is driving crazy down the road, I don't try to cut them off and brake check them. They don't need to be going that fast. What if they have to pee? What if
Yeah.
they're driving someone to the hospital? What if, that's none of
yeah.
my business? I'm going to
So-
try to be none of my business.
It's funny. So
It's hard.
Friday,
It's very
Friday
hard.
when we were driving down to North Andover, literally 7 miles from where we were supposed to be, it ended up being, we saw 4 cars and a dog. So I think the dog was in the car. I don't know, but I mean, it looked. There was one truck that looked like it was pretty bad, and that was down in the grassy median. But the other 3 cars, 2 of them were already on tow beds, and they didn't look like anything major. But I remember sitting there and thinking, when my kids were little, and I used to be, let's move, let's go. And, I, not so nice ways, but I used to be not good in traffic.
I'm still not good at traffic.
I would let the anger get there, and I was like, boy, I've got 4 little ears back here, and they're going to repeat what I say. And so I just started saying, like, when an ambulance would go by, or we got stuck in traffic, mostly when a fire truck or anything, I would always just say out loud, dear Lord, I just pray for protection over them. I pray that everybody will be okay, and just say a little prayer. And my daughter and I were driving down the road, and she's driving, and it's still a weird feeling when your daughter's driving and you're like,
I gave
I'm
birth
not
to you,
just
and now that you're
passenger,
behind the
like,
wheel
what?
of a car.
And you're driving me into the city, into Boston. Like, this is just, anyway, so we're into traffic, and I hear her repeat that. And I was like, wow.
No, it's not
if I
you.
leave one, if I leave, you don't know what the impression or you don't know what you leave behind. And sometimes we're lucky enough to get glimpses of it. And so she's just sitting there and she's like rolling her window down and she's like, oh, Lord, just pray for everybody in that vehicle. I pray that they're okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Like, I didn't know that I was doing that, but if I passed that energy on to her, I just felt like that was such a beautiful gift.
You have very sweet children. You're very conscientious, very sensitive, very thoughtful children.
I do. I do. They are very, I am grateful for. So sometimes you don't stop to think about, that. But I'm like, and maybe this week, actually the best way to say it is, sometimes when you're struggling with something and you can't find any wins, start looking for them.
Yes, whatever you look for, you will find. So if you look for problems, you're going to find problems.
And
if you
so,
look for
yes. And so that, to me, was a gift. Like, I see that as a win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we spend so much time beating ourselves up and being so hard on ourselves.
I am doing the best I can.
Yes.
And then really mean that, too. Because I think what happens is I brought my little mantras.
I love it.
A couple of years ago, I was going to have to put down my cat, who I was not prepared to put down. She wasn't very old. She had been sick for 3 years, and I had been doing everything in my power, spending all kinds of money, and I wasn't getting anywhere with trying to fix her. And then I was at the point where I'm going to have to put her down. And that was hard because she didn't look like she was dying.
Yeah.
Right? So that was so hard. So I'm like, I'm going to need therapy for this. And it was because I was having to deal with another loss. I was going to have to deal with grief and another loss. And I kept thinking that there was more time for me to fix it. And I adopted this kitten from a shelter. Once, it doesn't matter if you're 6 weeks old or 16 as a cat. Once you come into my life, you are mine. I'm going to do everything to protect you. I feel that way about my family. I feel that way about my friends. Like, there's
fierce loyalty.
Yeah, there is that piece of, if it's within my power, I want to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was that way about this cat. So I go to therapy, and I'm not in a good place. And I'm a piler. So not only am I dealing with, I'm going to have to put down this cat, every cat I've ever had, then the people I've had to bury, and friends and family that I've had to bury. And it just opens up the floodgate of grief and loss. And I'm like, I can't deal with this right now. So I go to a therapist, and this was in COVID, so there were no therapists to be gone to. So you had to go online. And you had to try to have like a phone call where you're like having...
I'm just going to tell you right now, if we're going to do a Zoom therapy session, you better not put a mask on.
Absolutely.
Criteria.
And it's in a time zone change because I can't even find one in the United States. They have an accent I have to try to get through. Perfect person. First person, I was like, I can't deal with this woman. I'm like, get me somebody else. Who should we get you? The opposite of this woman. So they got me this guy. Super nice guy. And one thing, again, with the meditation and the repeating the same thing over and over again. So he wanted me to say 50 nice things to myself every single day to get through this grief thing. And I told him, am I supposed to believe these nice things? Because when you're going through something, a grief or a loss, it's so hard to find the good things because the thing that you love is going, whether that's a pet or a person, whether that's a relationship, a time in your life, a job, anything. When you lose it, you don't, like, you're losing something.
It's hard to see the good. It's hard to see the good.
It's really hard. So he wanted me to say good things, right? And I'm like, am I supposed to believe these good things? I'm a very difficult therapy patient, I should say. I've had enough good therapy in my life, and I've also had some bad therapy that I know a good from a bad, but I'm also like, you're going to have to work for this 150 an hour.
My resistance armor is so thick. Can you smell it?
well, when you say too much information, you said too TMI earlier in the conversation. And to me, there's no such thing. I don't want to have a conversation about the weather. I want to
Right,
have a real
right.
conversation.
Yeah, me too.
I can meet someone in an elevator and know that they're having cancer treatments and that their daughter doesn't know. I can get in a cab or go on a train, and maybe because I'm open to listening to whatever somebody wants to talk about, but people tell me too much information all of the time.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm a safe vessel for that. Like, if I have one thing that I have going for me is if you need to unload yourself of something, you can
Yes.
tell me. It's okay.
Yes, you are a good container, and I'm a good container.
Yeah,
I
you're an
think
excellent
can be,
container.
until I can't. Like
Well, because I never weaponize it later. Like, I'm never going to see the stranger on the street.
right.
But I also try not to weaponize it in a relationship, where if you tell me something that I then use that later on. I try not to. I'm very conscientious about that piece of it. So when the therapist wants to talk, it's like, we're going to be real. And if you want me to do something, I'm not just going to pretend, even though I know that that's the thing I'm supposed to do, I'm going willingly. I do not go gently into the night.
Yes. Yes. Wait, you got to finish the story because this is beautiful.
Oh, about the therapist. So
Yes, because I want to say something. So he asked you to write down 50.
and I'm not writing down 50.
Right.
I said, if I really have to do this and I have to say these to myself in the mirror every day, I'll give you 10.
You're like, I can do 10.
I can do 10. And then he gave me a list of 50. And he said, pick 10 that you feel or you specifically don't feel that you want to feel. So I will tell you the first 10 I picked up. Okay. The first one, I'm allowed to take up space.
Love it.
At the time, I had so much on. I was plowing, I was property management, I was selling real estate, I was caring for family members. There was so much stuff I was doing that I was starting to feel like there wasn't actual space for me in that. So that one was one. You say that on the yoga mat all the time. They tell you to do that. And that's a perfect place to practice it, because when you reach up, you could touch the person next to you. And the first thing is, oh, sorry, to back up. Not you whack them and move your hands up. You're all doing the same thing, right? You're allowed to take up space. You are allowed to take up space in this world. My past is not a reflection of my future. That was really important because all of the deaths that came before, this was not an extension of them. This was not what my future looks like. This was just a moment to deal with that, right? I am strong enough to make my own decisions, which, because I had to, in the type of business, everyone always made the decisions. So there was the feeling that, well, I have to do what this person wants in a business capacity.
Yes.
Even though I knew, I would say to people, that's not the right thing.
Well, and also making decisions for yourself, it means,
If this person, so this is a perfect example. So I had a client, he had never owned a piece of real estate. He wanted to get into multifamily investing. He wanted to buy as many units as he can buy. And I said, why don't you start out with a 3 or a 4 unit, get your feet under you, see what that looks like financially, because if you have a problem, you're going to have a problem times 9 or 15 or 20. And you've never handled any property problems. Not that that's a bad thing.
Right.
But then all of a sudden you have to handle 20 of them. It gets overwhelming really quick. And if you get overwhelmed and you don't finish them, then you have just 20 outstanding problems that never go away. And your first investment could be your last investment really quickly. So, but then when I'm going to buy the one, I buy the 9, and then 6 months later I have 9 problems. And I tell him, this is what you should do. And he says, no. Right? So I'm strong enough to make my own decisions means I'm strong enough to have that client not be my client anymore. Even though I want what's best for them, I sold them the property. The benefit of using someone who has 20 years of experience is that you have their experience.
Yes.
If they're telling you, I've never run across this and I don't know what to do, that's one thing. But when they say, this is what you need to do or this will be the problem, and I can see it plain as day.
Well, but people will ask for advice, but then they don't want to ponder it. And it's like, hey, this is a great way for you to dip your toe in the water without taking, this is just a way to try the safari instead of like, I'm going to just,
Yeah, take a guided tour. Don't pitch a tent in the middle of lions' dens.
don't try to eat the whole elephant at once.
Right.
But so what that made me think about is, a lot of times we are resistant to make decisions because once we make a decision, then we have to claim ownership over it.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of people, we don't like to have ownership on stuff that is going south.
Mm-hmm. And then for my personal life, I was thinking that plowing was too much for my health. I was thinking, but I was feeling like I couldn't make the decision to stop because people relied on us.
Yes.
They relied on me. I was a person responsible for making sure the park and ride was free and clear of snow and ice.
Right.
That was my job. I had a responsibility.
Yeah. And so it's easy. Like that is claiming ownership over it. And like, I can't let this go because there's people counting on me.
Yeah. And then the next one was I choose peace, which is a hard one. I think for anyone at any time. I'm courageous and stand up for myself. I will succeed today because I wasn't feeling successful. I was constantly spending money trying to fix a problem I couldn't fix. So it brought this feeling of failure over everything, And then I deserve to feel joy because I was not feeling joy. And I'm worthy of love, which I think we're all worthy of love. Unless you're not, then stop whatever you're doing. And be worthy of love. And then I love myself deeply. That was those. So I decided that I was going to add 10 more.
No, I want to. So let me back up. You're not telling it the way I want you to tell it.
Okay,
so
tell it the way I want to tell it.
No. So the first time that you told me this story, you were physically struggling to tell me how hard it was to write those 10. So it wasn't an easy thing.
Yeah, to choose out of the 50, to choose 10 that I could stomach.
Yeah, so you shared something very, very vulnerable, and when you just pulled that out in a couple of days ago, you said, "Hey, I added 10 more to my list." And today you pull them out and you're willing to share them on public radio, and you've printed them out on beautiful, there's artwork behind it.
That's how I did it for myself too.
You talking about moving through, talking about healing trauma, and look at the growth that you have had in the last 3 days. I'm so overwhelmed. It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you've been able to take this and now we're here. You've added to it and you're willing to share it. And I think it's beautiful. And I think that it's healing. There's so many different things about it. And you're giving everybody that's listening a gift right now.
Well, we'll give you more of a gift at the top of the hour. You are listening to Lisa and Robyn on the mic on WSMN, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, plus YouTube Live, plus Facebook. Stay tuned. We will be back.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
USA News, I'm Ryan Daniels. The White House not yet disclosing whether President Biden will commute his son Hunter Biden's sentence. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre declined to comment on whether the president would consider this. The White House indicating it's not off the table.
What I will say is, look, I haven't spoken to the president about this since the verdict came out. And as we all know, the sentencing hasn't even been scheduled yet.
On Tuesday, Hunter Biden was convicted on 3 federal felonies for unlawfully purchasing a gun while addicted to drugs. There was a shelter-in-place order being issued on campus at California State University, Los Angeles overnight after dozens of pro-Palestine protesters took over the Student Services building on campus. At one point, several employees were reported to be trapped inside. Protesters had blocked all the exits with golf carts and overturned picnic tables. The Group of Seven summit is gathering this week in Italy, where representatives from several major democracies will meet. The three-day event will include dignitaries from the U.S., Canada, Japan, France, Italy, Germany, and Britain. EU officials will also be there. Topics at the summit will include everything from the Middle East to climate change, Ukraine, and future development in the African continent. President Biden is scheduled to fly to the summit Friday. The Federal Reserve announcing Wednesday that it will keep interest rates unchanged. The central bank will maintain rates at their highest level in over 2 decades as it continues to combat inflation. They expect there will be one rate cut this year. The benchmark rate remains in the range of 5.25 to 5.5%. NBA icon Jerry West has passed away. The Los Angeles Clippers announced this morning he peacefully died at his home at the age of 86. This is USA News.
Omaha Steaks is rewriting the book on burgers with an all-new handmade texture for the juiciest home-style burgers you've ever tasted. Their pure ground burgers are made from single cuts of real aged Omaha steaks. These are truly steaks on a bun. Filet mignon, ribeye, New York strip, sirloin, and even brisket burgers. Now is the time to experience the exclusive Burger Perfection Flight for just $79.99. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code TREAT at checkout to get an extra $20 off your order, plus free shipping. You'll get 4 of each pure ground burger, so you can sample all the steak on a bun greatness. These burgers are crafted for a juicier, more tender experience, making your mouth water with every single bite. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use promo code TREAT at checkout and get $20 off the Burger Perfection Flight and discover your new burger obsession. Minimum order may be required.
I am Elena Dries, nurse practitioner at Altrix Primary Care, located right here in Nashua, New Hampshire at 57 Northeastern Boulevard. At Altrix Primary Care, we are dedicated expert nurse practitioners who provide high-quality, comprehensive primary care services for people of all ages, from newborns to older adults. Our nursing model of care is distinctive because it's unhurried, high-personalized, easily accessible healthcare for you and your family. Visit us online at altrixpc.com/Nashua or give us a call at 603-821-4009. That is 603-821-4009. Altrix Primary Care, changing the future of primary care for you and your family.
Have you tried to quit drinking before, and much to your surprise and dismay, you couldn't? Have you tried therapy, meetings, and treatment programs, but still can't seem to stay stopped? Or maybe you live in fear that you'll lose your job, your home, or your family, and much more if you don't get this figured out, and soon. Well, there is hope. My name is Bill Nielsen, and I'm the founder of Nascent 24 Recovery and Life Coaching. And I struggled for over a decade. Yup, 10 years, trying to get it right. I lost jobs, 5 6-figure jobs in fact, homes, friends, relationships. I thought I'd never get off the merry-go-round or the roller coaster, but I did, and I've developed a proven proprietary process that works. Why does it work? Because it addresses the root cause and not the symptoms. No more Band-Aids on bullet wounds. It's a 12-week journey that will transform your entire life, not just the drinking thing. I work one-on-one with every single client, and your privacy and anonymity are paramount. The great part is that you don't have to leave your home, your job, or your family. Text me the word recovery to 203-241-1266. That's 203-241-1266. Or visit my website, nascent24.com, NASCENT24.com. There is a solution. Take the first step. You won't regret it.
Hi Nashua, I'm Perry Cataldo from Choice Benefit Services, your local insurance agent that has dedicated himself to all the Medicare plans in New Hampshire. Whether you're just turning 65, new to Medicare, or already have a plan, I'll explain all your Medicare options and extra benefits that you hear so much about. I ensure you're getting all you're entitled to and all that you deserve. Nashua, don't get fooled again this year. Call Perry Cataldo at 603-461-5550. That's 603-461-5550. or visit me online at cbsnh.com. That's cbsnh.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, health is wealth.
With the summer beginning comes more opportunities for music and adventure. Hi, my name is Cody Switzer, and I am from the Nashua Community Music School, the official summer music camp of Nashua. Your child could explore Latin music found in our city, put on an original Broadway show, rock out with our rock band at our next back-to-school bash, or become the next best DJ at the party. Want to learn more? Please visit our website, nashuacms.org, or give us a call at 603-881-7030. Don't wait. Spots are filling up fast.
Are you or your loved ones in need of compassionate care in the comfort of your own home? Look no further than Heaven Sent Home Care. Heaven Sent knows the importance of personalized care tailored to your unique needs. Whether it is assistance with daily activities, medication management, or specialized medical care, our compassionate caregivers are ready to provide the highest quality of in-home care. The service provided by Heaven Sent Home Care extend beyond physical care. They also offer companionship, ensuring that you or your loved ones have someone to share stories, laughters, and meaningful moments with. Experience the peace of mind that comes with knowing your loved ones are in capable hands. Or visit us online at heavensenthomecarellc.com to schedule a consultation and learn more about the comprehensive range of services provided. Heaven Sent Home Care, where care and compassion come together.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic, the second hour. You're listening on WSMN, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook Live, as well as YouTube Live. It is Laconia Bike Week. I am watching on the Nashua Public Channel. They have the opening to the Wares Beach, and we can see the bikes. It's a beautiful day up north. I hope we have a beautiful weekend. I hope Wolfman is going up. I'm hoping all of his listeners are going up and having a wonderful weekend. Please pay attention. Motorcycles are on the road all summer long. Sometimes even in the winter, too. I see someone riding when it's 54 degrees out. Some brave soul trying to get some motorcycle time in. But be conscientious. I know everybody's on their phone, and GPS is telling us to take a left when there's no left, or they didn't tell us to take a left after we were supposed to already take a left. I know. That's one of the things I was saying at the first hour. I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. When someone's acting stupid on the road, just know it's their GPS. Just try to trust that it's their GPS. The first hour, we were talking a little bit about this list that I made. And one of the things I wanted to say also, when I had said one of the things that I chose was I'm strong enough to make my own decisions, it was also to put the decision to put my cat down. Because there were people who were telling me just to give the cat to a shelter and somebody else could handle the problem. People were telling me to give the cat away. Other people were telling me, to do surgery, this surgery that wasn't fixing, that was an additional problem that we found for the cat. I thought my cat had stomach cancer because my cat had been vomiting. Like, cats vomit. They have hairballs and they eat plants. They vomit. But this cat was vomiting 6 or more times a day. She had lost half of her body weight. She no longer had a shine to her fur. She wasn't keeping any food down. And then she was getting really, really food aggressive because she would get sick and then she would want to eat food. And so she was preventing my other cat from eating food. So I was knowing that I couldn't give this cat to a shelter because what were they going to do with this cat?
Right.
Keep it. Who's going to adopt a sick cat that no one knows? We couldn't find out, officially what was wrong with this cat. It wasn't until one vet said, I said, are we sure this cat doesn't have stomach cancer? And they're like, yeah, cats probably have stomach cancer. And I had 2 other cats with stomach cancer because of the rabies shot. They used to give a rabies shot that was once every 3 years. And they stopped giving it because one of the side effects was it gave cats stomach cancer, and both of my cats had stomach cancer. This was a couple of years ago. And so in my head, that vomiting piece and the smell of their breath, I mean, no cat has great smelling breath, but there was a very distinct smell to the breath. That when I said it, so that very first cat that got cancer, and I said, hey, her breath smells really, really, really bad. I mean, I've had cats my whole life. This breath smells bad. And they said, oh, we should take out the teeth. And they even convinced me the second time that I said, hey, the breath doesn't smell right. And they said, oh, let's remove some teeth. So 6 months before my boy cat died, I ended up taking out 6 of his teeth when I probably could have just left his teeth alone. He was dying anyways. Right. But anyways, so when I chose, I am not strong enough, or I am strong enough to make my own decisions. I wanted to be comfortable with the decision. I was putting down a cat that officially wasn't dying at this moment. So I will go into the 10 the new ones. And the first one is because you guys hear me talk about my AFib with my heart all the time. But the first one is my body is healthy and I'm grateful. So I am so much healthier than I was a year and a half ago. But my heart, at least. So I'm really happy. And if I say that my body is healthy, I will do more things to make my body healthy. The next one is I am calm, happy, and content, because I'm mostly not calm.
But it's good.
I'm often happy, but content is a hard one because I'm a striver. You know, I strive for things.
I struggle with contentment.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
I think you just...
And that one popped up because I listened to a meditation where they said you can't have true joy without true contentment. So the meditation on that day was, I have everything that I need and I am everything that I need, which was part of the contentment one. And then my life is a gift and I appreciate everything I have. That's number 3. And then I surround myself with positive people who only want the best for me. That's a hard one. And I think because we're related to people.
Yes. Well, you have that sense of, we have that sense of community and family, drilled into us. And I guess maybe like a false sense of loyalty. Just because they're blood does not mean that you have to have a relationship. Like, where was that written?
Right. And just that if they don't want what's best for you, should they really be a part of your life in the day in, day out? Not saying that you don't reach out to them and follow up with them, but do they really need to be a part of your life every day if they don't want what's best for you?
Well, it's really like, it doesn't mean you have to kick them out, but it's be very selective of who is in your inner circle.
And who you spend a lot of time with.
Yes. So all of those things are all meant to raise your vibration.
Oh, here's one. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
I choose not to criticize myself or others around me.
Oh, man, that's hard.
Man, that's a hard one.
It is.
That's why I chose it, because it's so hard.
It's good, though. But I think that, like we've said it multiple times, the more that you seek curiosity, the less judgment we have. And I think that more that you understand that we're all on a journey.
I know what. We should stop using that word because now journey means something else to me in my head.
Adventure.
Yes.
Adventure.
Yes. We're all in this adventure. I love adventure.
So that way, so even like just to sum up kind of what we've been talking about this whole, our last hour, it's, struggling. And we're going to, blah, 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 blah. Let me try that again. Slow down. We were talking about suffering versus we last week we ended and we were going to suffering and overcoming, and yet we've kind of really been talking about some struggles and some suffering and like just some bad bumps in the road that we hit. And so, and you were talking about being at a really low point in your life and not being able to find joy, not being able to find contentment.
I didn't have a nice word to say during this time period.
Right. And so you start celebrating, like even today, I chose to give it to God and say that light turned green just for me. And I did. I felt very overwhelmed of like, that's the universe telling me that I'm not alone. I've got you. I've got your back. And I just thought that is so humbling. And I shared the story with my daughter about how she said a prayer. You know, when you are in a spot where you don't feel like you can celebrate wins, just take a moment and pause and think about those. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people that can be like, yeah, it was a stupid traffic light. You just got lucky. Okay. But I needed that. I needed to say it the way I said it, that the universe has got me, that God's got my back, because I need to raise my vibration. I don't care. You know, that's okay. You don't have to see it that way. But I'm not going to get into an argument over whether God is real or God is not. He's very real for me. And I choose to see that. And like, I needed a win. And that was the way I can reframe. And that's what you're doing with these. It's beautiful.
Yes. And one of the ones that I think is really hard is I choose not to criticize myself or somebody else, because I think we are our own worst critic.
Yes.
And sometimes give myself a break, because it's always not good enough.
Yes.
You could always do better. You could always make more money. You could always do, you could always do more. And that's the striving part of me.
Yes. That's why I think it's hard for, I think
I'm a striver. I don't even, if I walk 2 miles today, I want to walk 2.25 miles tomorrow. I mean, every part of me.
Me too. That's why I got my Fitbit taken away.
I'm not allowed to have a Fitbit. I'm not allowed to analyze my workouts.
So I don't know if you say, I'm not sure the word, high performer, high achiever, high anxiety. I'm always pushing. So I think that's contentment. Because Chris would always say, you just need to chill out. Just be calm. You don't always have to be doing something. I'm like, and that's been a struggle for me.
I think there is something too about productivity.
Yes. Yes, I like to be. Yes. So I like to have a result. I like to see something from start to finish.
Also,
and I feel like
the opposite of productivity is lazy.
Yes.
And it's a negative word, where productivity is a positive word. And when you think, well, I don't want to be lazy, I don't want to be seen as lazy, because then you think lazy sloth. You used to do the 7 deadly sins. There's a lot tied up with the language, which when that therapist on Zoom told me to say 10 nice things, it was because the only things that were in my mind at that time were problems, and I was not saying nice things. And it's hard to fix a problem with the mind that's in the problem.
Yes.
You need creativity. I'm normally a very creative problem solver, but I'm normally in a much better space than I was.
But when you're in a funk, you're stuck.
When you're in a funk, and when you're dealing with...
Stuck in a funk.
I was dealing with evaluating the life and death of my pet, right? That wasn't going to die tomorrow if I didn't put her down. Just felt like this huge burden.
Yeah.
Emotionally. And when we take on, that's one reason why my spouse often doesn't want pets, because we lose them.
That's what I didn't. That's why I resisted for a long time.
But then I'm like, you can't love them if you don't have them. And I think
you're robbing yourself of joy.
Yes. That's the part of me that thinks, well, I need to love it. And of course there is the other side, but at least you get the love.
Yes.
You will deal with the loss, but at least you have that the other time you have the love.
Yeah, it's taking you're putting yourself in a vulnerable spot. We can apply that to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather have had the experience than not.
Right, because you could say that about, well, I don't want any friends because something's going to happen to them. Or I don't want whatever because something could happen to them. I don't want to try this new business because maybe I would fail. You can't go through life, or if you go through life that way, you will never have the joys that are associated.
Well, so I was actually talking to my son the other day, and I just said, I wish we could just eradicate the word failure. I just get it because it has such a negative thing around it. It's a lesson. It's a lesson. We're not meant to be good at everything
all the time.
And so I broke it down in simple. I mean, to me it makes sense, but like, if life is a roadmap, I think I said this to you the other day. If life is a roadmap and our job, our body is our vehicle to be on the roadmap, if you're driving down the road and you're exploring the map, what are you going to do when you run into a dead end? Are you just going to say, that's it? I'm done?
I'm stuck here.
I'm stuck. This is the end of the road? No, you're going to back up and you're going to go down a different way. So not all roads lead to Rome.
Right.
There you go. And there you have it. But I'm just saying, like, we don't move forward out of fear of failure. I think a lot of us struggle with that. We don't have relationships because of failure. It's maybe, no, that wasn't the right fit. And I feel like I'd rather die trying to find my perfect fit, because you miss out on so much other stuff.
And I think there's seasons. Not everything is meant to be for the rest of your life.
Yes.
A job isn't meant to be for the rest of your life. There's so many things it's not for the rest of your life, because if you have the benefit of having a long life, you know what? At 85, I'm not going to be doing stuff I would do at 25 or at 50 because I'm 85. Maybe I'm just not physically capable to do that. That's why I think I wanted to ski so bad last year. I knew my nephews are going to be getting older. They're going to be wanting to do stuff. I want to do it with them, and it has to be now. It's not going to be in another 10 years from now.
I love that.
So there was that urgency of the physicality of it, of, okay, now going to the gym is making sure you have strong quads and making sure you're flexible so that you're not blowing out a knee, hopefully.
I think that's one of the things that my mom, one of the gifts that my mom gave to me. She was 68, and she's hiking the Alps with me and the kids at 68. Her neighbor down the road, she was maybe 62, 63. Her neighbor down the road had a 10-year-old, and the 10-year-old, invited her to his birthday party, and is paintballing.
That's awesome.
And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to show up. And I think we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. I like black sheeps. I think my mom was always pushing the envelope in her own way. She was like, nah, I want to live this way. She got a lot of criticism from it, a lot from her family. But I think that, not criticism, I think, I don't know if it's intimidation.
It might be that because they don't understand it, because it's not something that they would want to do, that it becomes, it seems like criticism instead of curiosity. Why are you doing that? You're too old to do that. What are you going to do that for? I think that's where the criticism comes in.
Well, in thinking that they have this perception, not them, but sometimes people have that perception of like, oh, well, they're trying to be better.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
heard
think
that
you're better
growing
than
up.
me? Yeah. That was very...
You're trying to be better. You think that you're better than me? No. I'm just choosing to write my story.
Think about how far we've come as a society. How many times did you hear, do you think you're better than me?
Yeah.
40 years ago. It was out of everyone's mouth at all times.
I remember even my dad saying it to my mom about, she wanted us to go to private school. She was always pushing, whether she consciously knew it or not, but she was always pushing the boundary of, yeah, I want something. What's next?
Yeah. This is great. Is there something better?
Yeah, and she's like, I want them to experience things. And, growing up in a small southern town, but I remember my dad saying, why do the girls need to be in private school? Are you trying to be better than we are? Are you trying to be something that you're not? And I feel like...
Ooh, something that you're not.
Are you trying to be something that you're not? Well, actually, yes, I am. I'm trying to be the better version of myself. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. So, yeah, I am. So I thought of something the other day. Saturday night, it was a beautiful night, and we're sitting out by the pool, and the fire pit is going, and all the lights are on in the garden. It's just a beautiful space, and we're sitting there talking to my son, and we were reminiscing about some of the experiences that they've had, and I was like, wow. My mom took me to Paris when I was 19, and we went to the Louvre, and I saw a lot of Paris, in France, I saw a lot in that week than most people would see in 2 or 3 weeks. They already knew the lay of the land, but I didn't appreciate it the same way. And I was looking back, and I had said to him, one of the things that I'm so appreciative about is that both of you two appreciated art when you were 14. Like, you loved going to the museums. You loved seeing the old buildings and learning. And I admire you for that. I admire your 14-year-old self. And so
that they're so sensitive, they can be touched by beauty.
Yes.
So young. Because usually the world kind of, takes all of its swings at you, and then you can appreciate
well, so here's the difference between my children and me.
Yeah.
My mom had taken us to the art museum.
They're born with it. Maybe
the Smithsonian.
Maybelline.
Yes.
Sorry. I just had to do that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Smithsonian. I'm here.
So my mom took us to the art gallery in the Smithsonian, and we were so bored to tears. Like, I just hated being there. I'm laying down in the Smithsonian on my back, and you have your knees up like this, and you're sliding across the floor. You're walking your feet, sliding across the floor. That's me.
At 19.
No, I didn't do that at the Louvre. That was in D.C., so I was probably younger.
You were 19 on the
floor? I had my driver's license. But probably 14.
Yeah.
I was probably around that age that my kids are. And literally, he was upset because we didn't go see the Statue of David when we were in Florence. And it was just, I was planning to take him to the Ferrari Museum, which was in a different town that we had not put into the itinerary because I wanted it to be a surprise. So when I found out that Enzo Ferrari's museum is like, a train ride up and we're heading in that direction, let's do it. So we had to sacrifice some time somewhere. So I was like, all right, we'll do Florence. We'll cut that short. Anyway, so we were talking about just some of the experiences that we had while we're going, and we're hiking in the Alps, and we had packed our picnic, and a local had told us where to go on a different trail that was kind of off the beaten path, and we're literally walking on this beautiful trail. You can see, you can just see all the mountains. You can just see the view. Not really sure where you're going. There's nothing. You kind of come out of this clearing to this wood of the woods, and you're in this big meadow. And on the side of the hill is a pub. It reminds you of like the Western, the old, like the plank boards with the wooden porch and stuff like that. But there you could get water and beer and maybe some bread. But it was just very, very little. In the middle of nowhere. You look all around. There's no road going in. Anyway, so we were laughing about it because we got lost. We were going to the hike, and we were hungry or out of water. Anyway, so I was just reflecting. I had gone inside, and I came back, and I was like, you know what? What if, I always say that we're in charge and we're writing our own story. As a parent, I've really tried to consciously give them colorful chapters. And what if when they turn into adulthood, we pass that book off? If your book is, and now it's yours. It's yours to write. Blank slate. And I just thought that was a good way to say, hey, it's empowering you to write your own story. And like, I do have a blank slate. It can be anything. And I'm like, I hope that I put some things in there to be like, yes, I want to expand on that. And I say to Chris, I love looking back at my memories. Part of what fuels me forward is that desire to create more memories, because I can look back and like, man, it takes you right back. Takes you right back to that experience, and grateful for that opportunity. And like, wow, if you just start celebrating, it goes back to celebrating your wins and being open to your experiences. And like, boy, life truly can be really rich. But I also think it is selective too.
And that you have some of those chapters that you wouldn't choose.
Yes.
Right? And that's part of it too. And when you came in and you were all like ruffled.
Yes.
Your feathers are all ruffled.
Yes.
Yes. That is the normal part of things. And I think sometimes in our striving to have this better life and all of these things, sometimes we get perturbed that why would my feathers ever get ruffled? And that's part of it too. Some days that's why we pet. We try
but
to
I
keep
think we have those experiences because it is testing us. It's showing us an area that we're resistant, or there might be something that we need to change, tweak. Because I think we're all on a mission. I think our spirit, I think our soul wants to live in joy.
Well, I think our soul is eternal. So there's, in the eternal, there is the basic understanding that this is so temporary.
Yes. And we get bogged down by...
And we don't want to be bogged down because we want to just enjoy this transient experience for our soul. I think that's a good way to put it. Because if you've ever seen someone, in a hospital and they're alive and then you see them passed away, it is so alarming and disturbing that they're no longer there, even though their body is physically there. The spirit that animates them, the spirit that loves and the spirit that strives and is all of that, angry and everything else.
It's life. It's energy.
It's life itself. It's the energy.
And it's gone.
And then
that's such a very weird...
It's such a weird experience.
Yes.
So I think that whenever, at least for myself, when I'm almost like humming in that vibration that something is off. I think it's the soul going, this isn't, this is wrong. This is going in the wrong direction.
Yes, that's that's resistance. That's the thing that's saying, hey.
Yeah.
And my body was doing it.
Are we really answering emails all day? Really? Is that what we're doing with our precious life? Is deleting these emails from Wayfair that I've never bought anything from, but it sends me 14 emails a day about couches. How many couches could I possibly buy, Wayfair? How many? Stop sending me emails.
7.
I wish they charged you money so you would stop sending me emails.
So the other night I wrote down on a piece of paper because my notebook was in the car, and I'm like, oh, I want to write that down. I want to remember that. So it's been on the kitchen counter by my purse, and I see it every day. And I'm like, wow, it's actually had more of an impact on me than I realized. And I'm going to read it to you. What the question is, what joy do you bring?
I think I try to bring a lightness.
Yeah.
In all the heaviness.
So then I actually was thinking about it, like, wow, it really makes me stop and think,
what joy do you bring?
What joy do I bring? And what joy do I actually bring versus what I think that I bring? Because I've heard, like, well, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a great mood. Or I'm doing this. No, how do I intentionally say, I love these people. How am I going to bring joy? I want to be joy. I want to represent what joy looks like to the people that I love. And so that's been hitting me really hard the last couple of days, like just consciously aware of, like, I'm trying to run everything through that filter.
If we asked our listeners, what joy do you bring?
If we start our day waking up and asking ourselves.
And it could always change.
Yes. Maybe it's chocolate chip cookies. Maybe it's doing the dishes. Maybe it's changing. And I'm not so much talking about the physical, like those are good things, but I'm just talking about how can I make the people that I love feel loved? I guess that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Because I think if we start thinking about what can we take from inside of us and put out into the world. What are we going to put out into the world? I chose the word joy because that's happy. To me, it represents peace, happy, contentment. All good things. Because we go through life and it's like sitting in traffic and we're going to be moody or we're going to have a bad day answering our emails. And hey, this is such a crappy job that I have to, I hate doing emails. I hate being on the phone all day. But is there a different way to look at it? hey, answering these emails is going to get me a paycheck.
Mhm.
It's going to allow me to watch my son's soccer game. This is
Mm.
going to allow me to go up to bike week. This
Right.
looking at this is affording me the opportunity to whatever it is to say, to change your mindset, because all it is a mindset.
And how can I do it in a way that I don't hate it? That's
Right.
another thing too.
Right.
Because I think we all have to do things that we don't want to do in life. I have to go to the supermarket.
Can we rephrase it in a way in our own mind that it raises our vibration instead of lowers our vibration?
Even if we can just bring ourselves to neutral.
Right.
That's something.
Right.
Because neutral, anything's possible.
That's true.
And you're overcoming. So one of the things that when you were talking about, going to the Swiss Alps and going to France, when we went to Florida, that's one thing that I have in myself that I saw in both you and Kayla, and that's why I thought, we could always vacation together. Because you can do life with people, but you can't do a vacation with people.
That is true.
And I like to wring out as much as I can in a day, and especially a vacation day, because they're so limited that
Yes.
I only have 5 days here, but I want to do
Yes.
175 things.
Yes.
And you, both of you, I was just throwing, and we'll have to do some work, and then we'll have to go here, and then we'll do this, and then, and you were
Bring it
open
on.
to it as we've got this. We can do all of the things.
Yes.
And that was one thing that I really loved about vacationing with you guys is, wow, we
are compatible.
We are compatible, and we had so much fun. And even the things that weren't fun, like sitting in traffic when we were
Yes.
supposed to watch a sunset, we had a good time. But also that you're trying to get the most out of.
Yes.
Get the most fun out of, even while there was all that work in there. There was getting the most out of.
I want to experience it all.
Mm.
And it's like, it's that excitement to being fully present and just allowing space for things to happen. Just the curiosity, I think the connections, the people that we met, I think it is because of that vibration.
Yeah, we were on a vacation high.
Yes.
So we used to have this
while we were
thing.
in it.
we John's grandmother's, approaching 90, and she's like a typical 90-year-old, tired, sitting. But then the family would come over. She would be making food for 2.5 hours the day before. And she would be up the whole time, and we would call that the bupcha high. She's on a family
yes,
high.
yes.
She's on a family high.
Yes.
When grandmothers don't have their family around, and then they have their family around for 24 hours, they're a whole new grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of brought that into our whole, and I joked around with you that when I used to go to Disney World, you could not get me out of bed before my alarm rang at this part of our life. And the sun barely broke. And I would be up taking pictures, trying to wake up my spouse,
Yes.
trying to go have fun. And then we would plop in the bed and just be so tired that it could only be Disney tired.
Yes.
So I think it was the second to last day. You were like, I just need a few minutes on the couch. And I took a picture of you and I sent it to John and I said, I made her Disney tired. This is
I
like,
love it.
we're
Yes.
wringing out so much fun that you just
Yes.
pass out. And because that's the little kid when they go somewhere and they just asleep in the middle of the thing because they're just, they've
Well,
had
it's
all
like
the fun.
You don't have, it's going into it and you don't, truly I think what it is and what kids, well, I wouldn't say that kids don't have it. You don't have an expectation. You're just excited to be in that space and you want to experience it all.
Mhm.
Is that it's like you want to experience it. I just want to, and so I think being in that space, it lays down judgment, negativity. It's just you're open.
Mhm.
You're open to the experience, and
Mhm.
so the waiting in the line and be in the energy. The energy is different because waiting in line. I forgot where I was going with that. And sitting in the traffic, life truly is about what you make it. And
Mhm.
those are moments where you're like, yeah, we could be fussing, we're all dressed up and it could be a miserable night. We could all be grumbling and growling and instead of
that
like,
it didn't go the way we wanted.
Right.
Instead of it, no, it not going the way you want is part of the story.
It's
but
part
what do
of
we
it
do
not
anyways?
not attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
Like just being present and saying, if nothing else happens right now, I'm still grateful.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a beautiful memory. And I think it's because of, well, it's definitely the people that you're with, but it's all being on that same vibration,
Mm-hmm.
that curiosity in wanting to do life. I think life should have more beauty than sorrow. And I don't think that you can't have a life without sorrow.
And you can't choose your sorrow too. I think sometimes some people are saddled with more sorrow than others. I think if you lose a child, I think that's really hard.
Yes.
I don't think you ever quite get over that, because I think the normal order of things is the grandparent dies, the parent dies, and then the kid dies. So I think anytime you have off of that's a really, that's a burden that you wouldn't wish on anybody.
Yes.
And so there are certain things, but if you can overcome, if you can have the struggle but still overcome it, if you have the sorrow and you can still find beauty and joy, it doesn't have to be all the time, but it could be in moments, then you're overcoming it.
Well, I think it's, so we were, Chris and I were having this conversation, and he said, we were born into suffering. Because I had asked him, I'm like, hey, would you consider changing your hashtag, your hashtag? And he's like, what? And I'm like, to me, it just, I feel something negative every time I think about it. It's staying down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so while, yes, you can't have, you can't overcome something if you don't have suffering.
But does he see that as keeping him down, or does he see himself as the warrior physically in the trenches? Like the warrior is on the battlefield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It sees him in the battlefield. But I'm like, at some point, you've got to celebrate your victory. And at some point, so I mean, it is. And they're both true. They both go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was trying to say to him is, yes, childbirth is painful. Coming into this world is painful. And, we are going to have, when we have life, there is suffering, but there is also overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset. It's choosing to say, yes, there is suffering, but I'm going to focus on overcoming it.
And then every time you are in the battlefield, you don't want to only be in the battlefield.
Right.
You want to enjoy your victory.
I want to go celebrate
off the battlefield.
I always thought it would be fun to be a Viking.
There's a lot of raping and pillaging.
Well,
and
it
boats
is.
and a lot of boat.
Yes.
And no showers.
A lot of boating. Well, I was thinking like a lot of drinking and a lot of boats.
I know. So that seems like, oh, that's so fun.
And a lot of jewelry.
Wait, it's so
Could
funny.
be a pirate.
Every time. So when one of the things that I've always been known for, and this therapist, would find amusement because, when you're in a bad mood and someone wants you to say something good and you can't think of anything good, thank God I'm not born in the the Middle Ages.
Yes.
Where they burned witches. If you were like, oh, let me just clean out that wound so it doesn't get infected, you were a witch and they set you on fire. I was just trying to be helpful that he didn't die of gangrene over the next 2 weeks.
That's the natural order. You get hurt, you're just going to die from it. If you don't die from it, it'll make you stronger.
Right. So, and you have one arm less, but you're stronger for it.
Yes.
Yes. There's so many times, and I think, thank God I wasn't a Viking.
But think about, so we watched, we've watched The Band of Brothers, and there's the scene in there in the
such a good series.
And it's in the winter, and I think it's like around Christmas, and they're in the bunkers, in the woods. It's cold. And when you're in that, and when you're in the suffering, sometimes the things that keep you going is the victory, is the joy. You're looking for the good. You need a reset. You're looking for the win.
But also it's the community. So when you were saying about birth being a struggle, I've been with people when they've given birth, and I've been with people when they die, when they pass away. And you do both of those things alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because only you can do them.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the time, you're trying to do it with people. I think that's the rest of it's important to be good with your own company and to be okay alone. I think that's important because we have moments alone, right? And if you cannot be happy by yourself, you're not going to be happy with anyone else either.
That is true.
So that's important. But I think of the movie For the Band of Brothers, and I think of everybody who is a veteran from any war. The war almost doesn't matter. It's their comrades in the fight. They would lay down their life for the person that they're fighting with. It always circles back to the point is each other.
Yeah, and to me, I think what helps is that tight connection. Is they're all on that same vibration. They're all in that, and there's that level of trust. There's that level of trust.
In that
respect,
connection.
That connection, but they're all in it to, overcome. We're all waiting. So victory or the win is not that was the wrong word, but their goal is to overcome and, see the sun, see the good, so yes, we're recognizing that this is a really, really crappy spot. Like this is really ugly right now. But a lot of times what gets these guys, these men that are like fighting and laying their life down is looking for the good, finding that good and holding on to it. And I lost my thought. Trusting that, because I was thinking about, they sacrifice so much. And even when we're not in battle, like they're overseas and they're away from their family and their friends and, they've created these good ties, these good connections with people. And that's something to look forward to. It's it's hope. It's hope and faith. And I don't know where all that's going. I feel it, but
I didn't want to get off on that particular topic, but when I think of how tight that group was and how they fought for purpose, I was thinking about, and I forget where I heard this, so I can't source it, but they were saying that there were all these men that were catatonic, and then a war broke out. I can't remember if it was World War I or World War II. They all got up and fought in war. So it was almost like an aimless, purposeless life that has no connection or community or purpose and no one to overcome with and nothing to overcome is a depression in itself.
Yes. And so maybe that's it. Yeah. Maybe that's true. What I was trying to say is when you're that close knit and obviously the rules and regulation and all that stuff, they're on the same vibration. They have created...
They're working towards the same goal.
They're working for the same goal, but they're also knowing like, hey, I got to pull my stuff. I got to pull my stuff together because this person's counting on me.
Yes.
And that's what I mean. Like that's how they're operating on that same vibration. And that's what helps create that tight.
And do you think that, in our families, we think of it in that same way? I have to pull myself together for my...
I don't think we do.
Interesting.
I don't know if we do either. I think that we, instead of holding a line, what joy am I bringing to my family? What gift am I giving to my unit? Instead of, am I using the space to complain? Am I using it to dump? What am I using this space for? How am I showing up for these people? Can they depend on me? Like if we are a team, if we're a unit,
then we're all pulling our weight. We all have a job to do. We're all doing it with a purpose.
Right. So it's kind of like the military. Like they are operating on a vibration because it's life or death if we don't. And we have to be that way.
Right.
So,
you are laying your hand in my life and I am laying my hand in yours.
Yes.
But we kind of do that on a very less overwhelmingly, I can't think of the word. It's not on the line of life or death right now, but sometimes in that mundane part of life, the part of life where I don't like routine. Like I know routine is good for me, but I think that's where the mundane lies sometimes. And I
Yes.
think, oh God, if I have to unload this dishwasher one more time. But instead of thank God I have a dishwasher. Right?
Yes.
But in that mundane part, you think nothing's on the line. But in reality, your whole life is on the line.
Yes.
Your relationships are on the line. Your business is on the line. You just don't see it because it's not that immediate life or death draw.
Yes.
But over time, it actually is your whole entire life.
Yes. I was trying to find that quote that they said in when one of the guys said that he is in the Band of Brothers. He was talking about fear. And he said, there's no place for fear. It spreads like a poison or something like that. I'll have to remember that.
And when you said something earlier, I was thinking of the Irish prayer. I think it's an Irish prayer where they say, may the wind always be at your back.
Yeah.
I don't have my phone. It's over there, or I could look it up. But there are several different things that when you were speaking earlier, I was like, when you said, oh, it's divine intervention and the light was changing, and I could think that's for me. I think that I was saying that if I could hope that someone else is giving me the benefit of the doubt, because I'm hoping to give other people the benefit of the doubt, it's almost that same thing of if life could give you the wind at your back. And I don't know why the lights just fell.
I know. I was like, am I going to look over and there's like a rat?
No,
or
I don't think there's a bug.
It's like, is there an animal over here?
And you can't be right when I'm in the middle of trying to formulate a thought, have the lights all go down.
I'm getting ready to say something profound.
You know what it is? The sticky fell.
Oh,
it's not profound at all.
Right.
But that brings us to coming to a close on another Thursday, which this was not the topic we wanted to talk about. I was only bringing this for you. I was not going to share this on the radio, just so you know.
Hey, life, it happens the way it's exactly how it was meant to happen.
Yeah, I was just going to show you the pretty picture I put
love
behind them. I was not going to go through this in detail.
But see, we've changed our vibration.
But I do think I am glad that I did it, because I do think if you don't have $150 to go to therapy and you're going through something different right now, find some words of affirmation or find something positive to say to yourself. And you're not going to believe it at first.
Right. Find something to celebrate a win.
But you need to hear something different than the stuff you were hearing in your brain. Because I know I'm not the only critical person here. I know everyone who's listening has that voice, that critical voice, that might not even be your own.
Right.
It might be parent or a teacher or a sibling or a nasty neighbor or somebody that earwormed into your brain, and now they live and reside not paying rent in your space, and they don't belong there. And the only way you get those words out is to put new words in there.
Right.
And if you don't know because you're in a space where you don't know what good things you would say to yourself, go online, say 50 affirmations.
Right.
They'll come up with 50. Find 5 you can stomach and say them to yourself all the time. And you won't believe them at first, but it doesn't matter because you will eventually feel them.
At any given moment, we have the power to rewrite our traumas, our pains, our hurts. We choose what we're going to get dressed in today.
Yes.
We get to choose our armor. And I love the idea of having the power that I get to write my own story. And so, yeah, there's some painful, ugly things from it, but there's some beauty that came from it. And so instead of focusing on the suffering, I'm looking at the overcoming. I'm finding the gifts in that. And thinking about, I was told one of the most beautiful examples of it is when Nick was on as a guest, and he said his wife, they were talking about he was bullied in school. And he and his wife were having a conversation, and she said, if you could go back and tell that 8-year-old boy a message, what would you tell him? And Nick put himself in that spot where he had the upper hand, and he was able to let go of something. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. sometimes it's just a decision. So I encourage everybody to start looking for the good.
Mm-hmm.
Start looking for good.
And if you can't find it, start saying good things.
Right.
Compliment someone out. If you do it, it seems so odd at first.
Yes.
I'm someone who tries to compliment people, especially if I see them look nice or something like that, man or woman, and I know.
Oh, I love complimenting people. I've walked up to a couple of people and be like, oh my gosh, and Kayla's like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah, and I know.
And I'm like, did you see her smile? And now I see her doing that.
Yes.
Just.
And we were walking down the street last week. We were leaving our show, and a woman yelled out of her car window, "You ladies look nice today."
Yes.
And we yelled back, "Thank you."
Yes.
But try, even if you don't feel it, try wearing it. Right? Try wearing.
It was just like the stoplight today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was grumbling and fussing, and I'm like literally urged to like just lay down on that horn. So start looking for the good.
Mm-hmm.
Start seeing the beauty. I think that we are given gifts all throughout our day.
Yeah, you have. Every time you hear birds singing, know that there's no imminent danger for them, because birds don't sing when there's danger present. So every time you hear birds out and you hear them just singing, you have to kind of tune into it, because that's so the background noise, and we are so much noisier than the birds.
Well, and that's part of, we were talking about grounding and going in and what do I feel? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I taste? All of those things are taking time just to pause. And I do think it does help you calm your body down.
Yeah, because we're always rushing from the thing to the next thing to the next thing, or we're buried into our phone and we're not paying attention to anything around us.
Yes.
So if you can, if you can, get the Aptiv meditation. Like I said, it's free.
How do
if
you
have
spell it?
APTIV. And I know it's free on Audible, but I know the library has a version of Audible that if you're a member of the National Library or your local library, you can get audiobooks for free at the library. And they have all these different gifted things in there where, you know, Audible pays Aptiv and they put 21 meditations out all the time, and it's part of your program. There's all kinds of things like that. So every time you think you don't have anything or you don't want to spend any more money, go to the library. You know, go take a walk in the park.
Gosh, even YouTube.
Yes.
Even YouTube, you can do, you know, and people are like, oh, I don't want to meditate. I don't know how to meditate. And
Well,
I
will
can't
say
stop the brain down. So when I started meditating, I had to have a guided meditation because it helps me focus and shut the chatter down. And I found a couple that will actually, they say that, you know, if you're having random thoughts, just let them come, let them pass and go on, because you do get to that point where, now I can drop into the meadow where I'm walking down the stairs and I'm breathing, and, you know, they're taking you into that.
And part of it, I thought I was a terrible meditator because I could not get the thoughts to stop. But the point is noticing them, so you can notice them somewhere else. I remember saying something to myself the other day, and I thought, whose voice is that? That's not mine. And it was a dentist I worked for. And I was like, wow, could you imagine at 16 you still hear something triggered at a specific point? And it was about productivity, actually, too.
Yes. So, takeaway. 5 affirmations.
5 nice things that you say to yourself.
Yes.
5 nice things you say to somebody else.
Yes. Ask yourself, what joy am I bringing? And what was the other one? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Maybe that was it.
Just said it. Joy. Oh, look for the good.
And look for beautiful.
Yes. So a lot of times we sit around the dinner table at night, and we did it when we were little. What is the best thing about your day?
Yes. And then stay tuned. Lisa and Robyn on the mic, WSMN, every Thursday, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. Have a great week, guys.
USA News, I'm Tim Berg. U.S. producer prices are down after an unexpected drop in May. The Bureau of Labor Statistics announcing Thursday the producer price index decreased by 0.2% last month, as economists predicted it would increase by